Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I'm here to talk about why I'm not using retinol anymore. I said that I would come and give you an updated skincare routine once I started using the Retirides cream, which is Tretinoin, but the one I bought was 0.1% and that's a little bit high to be using regularly all over, etc. So I have ordered some lower strength ones. I've ordered 0.025% and a 0.05%, and then this one is the highest, and so I will be using those and starting them in a regime, and as soon as I have that I'll tell you about it. But what's happened is I've had irritation from all of the retinol that I've used, and when I say all of the retinol from The Ordinary, I should say, and you guys know I had mostly on my neck, because there's a lot of videos you've seen with irritation on my neck. There was a lot of irritation on my neck when I went on a holiday that you didn't see, and so there's been a few times where I've used this. 1% was the highest I used, and that it's kind of no wonder I came out in a rash. I should have started lower. So then I bought the 0.2% and the 0.5%. I'm talking about the ones in squalane from The Ordinary. So I have tried the 0.2% in squalane, 0.5% in squalane, 1% in squalane, and 1% in silicone. I thought the most sensible thing to do was go 0.2%, move to 0.5%, move to 1%. The 0.2% on my neck caused me irritation. It caused me a little bit of itching on my face, but not an awful lot. But once I used it continuously, every other day, it did start to cause a little bit of redness around my eyes and just a little bit of irritation. But my neck just didn't seem to be okay with any kind of retinol. I even tried mixing the 0.2% with another oil, so to dilute it further. I tried mixing it with cream, and my neck was just irritated. At one point during all this irritation, I decided to stop using any retinol or retinoids and just let my skin heal. That's before I did my research for that other video where I found out that actually if you have irritation you should really continue on with it, because otherwise you just keep on getting the irritation and your skin doesn't get accustomed to it. Anyway, I decided to give my skin a break, and it got to the point where it was better. It was no longer red, it was no longer irritated, it was no longer itchy. When I say irritated, the way I could tell was certain products I would put on, certain cleansers or certain serums would sting, like around my eyes, around my nose, etc. At that point, typically for me, I was curious about this, and I was just kept looking at it and thinking, will I use it all over my face and neck and just see what happens? Because I didn't have anything planned for the next 3 or 4 days. I didn't have any videoing to do, and I thought, let me just see what happens. I'm curious to see how I react to this. So this is a 0.1%. Like I said, it's too high for me to be using regularly or as the first retinoid cream I use. Whenever I use Differin, by the way, I only ever really used it on my chin because that's where I had the acne. And it was a long time ago, so it's not like my skin is used to Tretinoin. Anyway, so I put this all over my face and neck, and then left it and didn't put anything else on it for the next 2 days and waited to see what happened. And what happened was really surprising. Nothing happened on my neck at all. I didn't get any redness, I didn't get any irritation, I didn't get any itching, and I didn't get any flaking or peeling. So that was really encouraging, and I just thought, well, maybe it's taking longer to come out. On my face, however, I was peeling like a lizard, if a lizard peels. My skin was just ridiculously peeling, like literally skin was hanging off my face. As somebody that's had oily skin for most of their life, I was quite interested in it. I was kind of looking in the mirror and I was like, okay, how is this going to work? I was just fascinated by it. It was literally all around here, all on the top of my eyebrows. And so I thought, I've told everybody about these products. I'll use all of these products, and I'll use my little dried out face sponge to buff it off. But when I was buffing it, I was noticing that not all of it was coming off, and I was like, okay, that doesn't work obviously 100%. That only works if the skin is ready to come off. So then I used a physical scrub in the shower, and actually I wished I had my Clarisonic. I sold my Clarisonic years ago because I just found it did nothing for my skin, and now that makes sense to me really, because like I said, my skin does better without water, and there's more of you that agree with me than I ever expected actually. But actually for dry skin, I think the Clarisonic would have been really good to get rid of those dry patches. Or a face brush anyway. So that number 7 one that nearly took my skin off would be good. If I was going to buy a face brush now, I'd buy the Clinique one, I think. Anyway, in the absence of a cleansing brush, I, like I said, used a exfoliating scrub that I had, and you know, put all those creams on and all was well, and you know, within a couple of days it had gone, and so for that period I hadn't used anything on my skin at all. I still had no reaction on my neck at all. So I then said, okay, at least I know how I react to that, and that's more manageable. To me, it's more manageable to have flaking skin than it is to have crazy red irritated skin, and so I was quite excited about that. So I thought, let me go back to using the 0.2% retinol on my neck and see what happens. And immediately my neck was irritated, and I feel like even now it still looks a little bit red in places, and I just, as soon as I used the retinol, the 0.2% face and neck, I could feel, albeit a small level, I could feel a level of irritation. And so I've just decided that for me, retinol is not a good product, and Tretinoin or even Differin is a better product for me. And I wanted to share that with you because there may be some of you that are the same. There may be some of you that are really struggling with retinol, but really want to use it. And if that is the case, if you're suffering with redness and irritation, then it might be worth thinking about buying some Tretinoin. If you're in the UK, I've done a video on how you can buy it, by the way. Now, the only thing with this is it may sound like I'm saying all retinols are a problem for me, and they may not all be. There may be some formulations that are okay. For example, I did use the Paula's Choice 1% retinol on my chin only. I had a tiny little one of their sample bottles, and I remember I didn't have any redness or irritation. But I didn't use it on my face and neck, you know, the rest of my face and neck. I think that people have got great feedback about the, now what's his name, Peter Thomas Roth 2%, I believe, retinol night cream, and I would love to have tried that, but it's quite expensive, and I always said that I wanted to use Tretinoin anyway because that is the only one that is proven, and so at this stage I certainly wouldn't consider buying any other retinols to see if I can tolerate them, because the plan was always to go on to the Tretinoin once I could get hold of it. I just wanted to use up my retinol. I've had a look up on, you know, the internet to see if I can find any kind of studies or even any suggestion of the fact that you get more irritation with retinol and more dryness but less irritation with Tretinoin, and there isn't anything there. In fact, it's the opposite. The suggestions are that retinol, because it is weaker, which is a fact, is less irritating, but I certainly haven't found that. And like I said, I thought that that would be really useful to people that are maybe persevering with retinol and not getting results. Think about giving the lowest strength of Retirides or Tretinoin as you can get it a go. I certainly found the same with the Differin cream that I used. I did try that all over my face. Like I said, I was mostly using it on my chin, but when there was a sudden kind of explosion of it being recommended for anti-aging, and there is some research that that type of retinoid works, but not as much as for Tretinoin. But I did try the Differin all over my face and didn't have any irritation from that either. But this Retirides cream has some emollients in it, it has some vitamin E in it, it has some really good products in it. So I'm really pleased with this. So I wanted to tell you that as well, that if you've been trying retinol, give Tretinoin a try if you're getting too much irritation, and also to let you know that I do so far recommend this, bearing in mind I've used it once, but no irritation on my neck, lots of flaking on my face. But what I have done is ordered Retirides in 0.025% and 0.05%. I could have just ordered the 0.025%, but I thought, you know what, if I'm paying all that shipping, I may as well order the two, and I will start off using it probably every other day, or maybe every 3 days, the 0.25%, 0.025%. Yes, 0.025%, and see how I get on. And as soon as I figure out exactly what I'm using with it, I will come and do an updated skincare routine for you. As always, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you've had a similar experience. I'd love to know if anybody else has experienced this. Let me know if you've used the ordinary retinol but have another retinol that you've also used that hasn't caused you irritation, for example the Peter Thomas Roth one. I'd love to know whether this is a retinol versus Tretinoin thing or whether it is just product specific. because I should probably say as well, I haven't loved using oils in my regime. I did at first because I was like, oh, it almost takes away the need for a moisturiser, your skin feels lovely, but actually every time I use it, my hair gets oily, and so that's kind of put me off as well. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you again soon.